T, you good? Should have starting out muting you because all that mess you talked last week, but I'm gonna let y'all have it.
You needed anyway.
I did.
Right. Swift got me muted from the jump.
What's going on, people? I'm back from another week. Had to celebrate my mother's birthday, but I'm back this week. Coming to you live from Houston, Texas. I'm drinking on water. I am never drinking again. Nope, not drinking again. But I'm back.
So loud.
For sure. This your boy T. Out here in the A, man. This for my dog, Room Dog, man. Chef David Mallett, missed this nothing. I'm on that Patron, man. You already know that's his drink. I'm on that Patron. I'm gonna finish it up with a little wine like my boy CJB, man. Till he get here.
Going on, people. Had to take the week off last week because I had some homework to do, but I'm back. I'm drinking some water because I'm trying to stay awake because I just finished a 1,500 word paper. I'm ready. Let's get to it.
What's going on, folks? This is Denrol coming in from Senegal. I mean, it's 2 o'clock over here, but I just came through from celebrating a friend's birthday, so I ain't slept yet. So let's get to it.
What's going on, y'all? It's Jay Ward. I'm in Shreveport, one of the only blue areas in Louisiana. I'm here. I'm drinking a Truly because I have to get up early in the morning. But I also do have my Fireball on deck just in case I have to take a couple shots. I want to give a big shout. I'm sorry, Kroll. I want to give a big shout out to my boy Kevin Lawrence, man. Praying for you. My soror and my mad drama sister Francine, praying for you. And my Neo Dino, definitely praying for all you guys, man.
What it do? This is your boy Crowley coming from the Jet. Definitely want to give a shout out to my LBZ being on this thing, you know what I'm saying? Off of Beta Don't Sleep, baby. Let's go.
All right, so we started out talking go blue or go home. Y'all, I see Kim in the comments. I'm gonna say hey to everybody in the comments. Thank you for joining us tonight. Of course, we had to talk about politics tonight. We had to talk about the election because it's very important and it's coming down. It's pretty much wrapped up now. There are some last minute maneuvers being done by President Trump, but I don't think they're going to work. But we got to talk about this election and talk about how it impacts us and talk about the black vote. So let's start here. Let's start with the positives before we get into the other side, right? What are some of the things?
My man.
Oh, okay. What are some of the good things y'all are seeing?
The Patron hit differently.
Right?
Y'all know I don't drink that Patron like that.
I wouldn't, but no.
First of all, bit back.
Out to Stacey Avery. She did her absolute thing in Georgia. We'll talk about that later on. But what are some of the positives y'all have seen out of this election so far and out of the black vote?
One time for the A. You already know DeKalb County. Hold it down.
See you on that Patron for real.
I'm just saying, man. East side, man. You already know, man. We held it down.
I'm with you on the excitement. Definitely, just across the board, just seeing the lines of my people, our people, the kings and the queens out voting. The people, the black kings and queens out there protecting to make sure that the vote goes through.
Oh, bro, you kind of muffled.
I'm kind of muffled.
Yeah.
All right, let me see what's going on, and I come back in on y'all.
Okay.
I'm ready, Swift. I'll jump in.
Go ahead.
So you said what were some of the positives that we've seen from this?
Yeah, some of the good things.
Some of the positive things that I've been able to see is that when properly motivated, which we should always be properly motivated, we can swing any election. And I think with that, it's just showing that we aren't going to sit there anymore and let people just take our vote for granted and take our voices for granted. And I'll get into the rest of that later when we talk about, I guess, some of the negatives.
You sure about that?
But I think that we came out in large numbers to vote, and I really think that another positive that I see is I have not seen or heard about any violence at any of the polling areas or anything like that. I know there have been threats, But I
I
kind
did
of stopped
see one.
watching. I kind of stopped watching after a couple of days because I'm just like, this is going to be what it's going to be, and I'm not going to stress myself out over it. But I did see a lot of, people having dialogue about candidates and not just saying, and a lot of black people tend to go with the Democratic Party blindly, and I think a lot of people challenged it, and they really, did research on candidates before they just threw a vote toward them, and I think that's a positive thing. So I think people were more informed this year than in the past, and I think that's an absolutely good thing.
That's good, but I did see one fight though. I saw Miss Pearl beat somebody up at the poll. Some election.
Hey, I did see that.
Go ahead, Crow.
Hey, is this better?
Yeah.
All right. Back to what I was saying, man. It was just a beautiful thing just to see everybody out voting. Seriously being patient with the 2 hour wait, hour and 30-minute wait. Just encouraging each other along the way. Seeing, like I said, the queens out there holding it down. You had people protecting those who were at the polls, making sure that no outside interference came and tried to discourage individuals from voting. We definitely, I'm not a social media person, but I saw things being dropped in group meetings that I'm in, different group meetings that I'm in. So, man, I just want to just give a shout out to all my people, my black people, for doing what they supposed to do. Now, let's do it on the local level.
Again, Crow. What you got going on? You muffled again.
I don't know what's going on. Let me try.
You probably got something over the microphone, man, your hand or speaker or something.
Yeah. I'm gonna try it again.
One more time. All right, Rob, what you see?
All right, so tell your cousins, your aunties, your uncles, your stepdads, your stepmamas that the whole story about your vote doesn't count. We all realize now that is false. Every single last one of the votes count. So another thing I noticed is what they did in Georgia. We need to figure out what that is, and we need to replicate it across Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama because
And
what they did
Arkansas.
there, Arkansas,
Don't
what they
nobody care
did in
about Arkansas,
Georgia
boy.
was phenomenal, man. Like you saw the black vote, and another thing is this is what you get when you don't have voter suppression, like massive voter suppression. The black vote is more powerful than I think a lot of us recognize, but a lot of white people realize how powerful our vote is, which is why they've been trying to suppress it for years. But if we get out and vote and we're energetic every single election, we can make some changes, some tangible changes that we can start holding some people accountable because they recognize how powerful our vote is. So that's the biggest thing that I saw.
Okay. And Raw, brother man, what did you see?
Yeah, I think everyone's mentioned the positives about the black vote. I feel so I don't think I need to touch upon that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the positives was I saw the media holding Donald Trump accountable for his words, and they immediately switched up on him when they realized he was spewing garbage. So that was good. Another thing was, I don't know if you all know, but in Florida, you've got a lot of felons in Florida who can't vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a law in the U.S. that if you're a felon, you can't vote. However, they tried to change that law in Florida. And so it went through, I think, Parliament or the Legislative Council or whatever. The Republicans blocked that just to make sure that you have like so many thousands of felons that couldn't vote. And that could have easily swayed the Florida vote. So people just need to know that, that it's time to make sure that we get have active things pushed through like state senates or whatever to make sure that felons are allowed to vote. Once you've done your time, you need to be able to vote because that's one way of suppressing the black vote. So they need to do something about that.
Absolutely. I mean, T, I know you saw a lot of positives. You out there in Atlanta, Georgia, but what's it like? What you see?
Everybody really just black people say today as usual. You know what I'm saying? Like they keep on trying to play us to the left, but at the end of the day, Atlanta showed up, Philly showed up, all the hoods came out, did what they were supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Now I ain't gonna lie, at first I early voted, and it wasn't a lot of people in there, so I really didn't think it was gonna go that kind of way. But you know, at the end of the day, man, them numbers was crazy, bro. So you know, it is what it is, man. It's still kind of funny out here about with the whole election or whatever. But hey, ATL, we held it down, man. South side, east side.
Yeah. And speaking of the numbers and the election being fun, I saw one comment. I think Jay Ward agreed. I'm just gonna ask you guys this question about the electoral college. I see a lot of people saying we need to get rid of the electoral college, and I'll try to explain electoral college for y'all that don't understand. So basically, the electoral college is a system where you're not really voting for the president; you're voting to tell someone to vote, right? So each state gets a certain amount of electors based off the population and the Congress members they have in office, both in the House and the Senate. So for Texas, I think it's 38, California 55, so on and so forth. But you're telling them how to vote. Smaller states, small populations don't really see that big amount of electors. And also, whoever gets the majority in the state gets all the electors, right? Some people are saying that we should go to a popular vote, one person, one vote system. So guys, I try to explain it as quick as possible. I don't want to have us here all night and keep teaching class. Do y'all think we should go to a one vote, one person, one vote system, or stay with the electoral college? And Jay Ward, I know you said no. I'm gonna start with you. What you think? You muted.
My bad. I had muted myself. I think the electoral college is some bull, but I in doing some research on it. In certain states, if you choose not to vote for the people that your state voted for, it's a felony, and like you can be like criminally charged for it. So I think there should be penalties for people who don't vote for the people who they said or they're supposed to vote for. Like, what's the purpose of having the system in place? And then those people can still, at the end of the day, decide that, oh, you know what, I'm gonna still vote for who I want to vote for. That shouldn't be allowed. But you know, again, I don't want to go into my negatives or my things that, you know, we should work on. But, you know, if we vote in local elections, then we can determine who's in electoral college. But I'll get on that later.
Okay. Does anyone think we should stick with the electoral college?
I mean, I see the point in it because of, you know, population and some states having an advantage, you know what I'm saying? So I do kind of see the point of it, but the problem is, you know, fraud, things of that nature, man. So, you know, so I mean, like I said, I see what was the point of it, but at the end, you know, you can make whatever you want happen when you when you want it.
So Shanique's saying explain. So basically what T is saying with those smaller states, if you go to a popular vote system, the population of Houston and Dallas is larger than the entire state of Mississippi combined, right? So presidents or presidential hopefuls may not even come to these states. They may come to certain states to get their population and get their turnout and win the election. So the Mississippi, the Arkansas, the Alabamas, the Rhode Island, those smaller states may not even have a say-so on who chooses the president because their population is so small. So that's one reason why people are saying maybe we stick with the electoral college. Go ahead, Robert. So you say it now. So what's up?
Yeah, so the past 3 elections, the popular vote has gone to the Democratic candidate. I think Joe Biden has the most popular votes of any candidate in history. And then Hillary won the popular vote. Naturally, Obama won the popular vote. So there's a reason why the Democratic candidates usually win the popular vote. And that's usually based on black population, rural population, disenfranchised population. They tend to vote for the Democratic candidate, which is another reason why they had the electoral college in place in the first place. There was a reason why they created it. One, because of the sizes of the states, but for two, because slaves couldn't vote. And so since slaves couldn't vote, they used the slave numbers to increase the electoral college vote numbers. And so that's where the basis of the electoral college came from. And so if you have something that has a racist background, it's always a good thing to revisit it and figure out how we can either retool it or get rid of it altogether. So that's my thing. And I understand the disparities in the state numbers and things like that, but there's a specific reason why, it's skewed for a specific group to be close at least, instead of being a bloodbath like it should be.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, I think Donald Trump and his administration was trying to add a question on the census, are you American citizen? To try to deter those Hispanic Americans from completing the census, which would drive up the population, which would drive up representation. So absolutely. Then Rob, what you think?
I mean, I'm going to try and give the perspective of the rest of the world looking in, into the U.S. and everyone's like, what the hell is this? Like electoral college, that no one else does that sort of thing. I mean, voting, every vote should count regardless. But the biggest problem for me and the rest of the world is, why in the world does the U.S. only have two parties? That's problematic. That's why you have all this polarization. In any democratic country, you need to have multiple parties so that each you can form coalitions, and when you get in the government, each party can keep the other one in check. So the biggest issue here is just the fact that the U.S. only has two main parties, and that's problematic in itself. So electoral college, yeah, you need to get rid of that. Bring in the popular vote. Well, the very fact that you call it a popular vote when it's just a vote is problematic in itself. But the biggest issue for us is like, why in the world does the U.S. have multiple parties forming coalitions in government so that it can keep each other in check? Yeah.
Fair point. Crow, for you just joining us, I was asking, do you agree with the electoral college, or should we scrap it and go with the one vote popular vote system?
No, I definitely don't agree with the electoral college. Can you hear me better now?
Keep talking, we'll see.
Okay. No, get rid of that old antiquated system. I'm kind of familiar with Denwall on definitely. I know I have to tell in multiple parties. I know we have independent party. I know they tried to bring along, Tea Party and all that, but definitely don't agree with the electoral college. It shouldn't be having certain barriers in order to run to help your people.
Yeah, you still muffled. Crow, I don't know what you got going on. So, I know what it is. They want you to get the iPhone 12. That's why.
Yeah, he probably got the laptop laid wrong or sitting up or something, man.
Right?
No.
See what you think.
I already told you what I thought about the electoral college, boy. What you talking about?
I'm not too drunk, eh? So let's
T feeling itself, boy, because Atlanta saved the day. Finally, the first thing Atlanta won.
So
hey, we did it, man. We did it, man.
Said, Atlanta and Georgia sacrificed all these sports teams to come out and save the day. Y'all sports team.
Hey.
But moving on, let's talk about the numbers a little bit more. And I saw an article that kind of talked about this as well. And I want to talk about race, the black vote and race. How many black people actually voted for Biden? I think it's been reported, exit polls, that 18% of black men voted for Trump, and 8% of black women voted for Trump. Right? I saw an article that said black men relate to Donald Trump's chauvinist ways, kind of claiming the reason that black men are voting for Donald Trump as a patriarchal type of relatability. So I want to ask y'all, because I want to get y'all input. I don't think anyone here about the Trump, but I'm gonna ask y'all anyway. Why do you think black men or black people in general voted for Donald Trump?
Crickets.
Start it off, T.
Crickets. Why I got started out, bro?
I can start it off.
Go ahead, Nero.
Thank you. Worldview. We need a worldview.
No, for me, this is not a worldview for me. For me, I'm going to question that statistics. I teach mathematics, and one thing is the U.S. is really good at is manipulating statistics. Anyone can manipulate statistics to say whatever they want. So you have to be very careful about looking into those facts. Yeah, they can say a lot of black men voted for Trump, 18%, but when you really look at it, I mean, the stats could come from somewhere else. You know, in the sense that you could have people classifying themselves as black when probably, I don't know. I find that very hard to believe until I see the raw data in front of my eyes. You know, yeah, it's a tough one for me. I mean, it could be true. Don't get me wrong, but in this day and age, I mean, looking at Trump, he's a racist, a sexist, a fascist, every single thing, and yet you still have black men voting. It's possible, but for me, until I have the raw data in front of me.
So what you're saying is those individuals who are not white or Latino, who could not identify as anything else, are included in that 18% that voted for Trump, but are lumped into black people, basically.
It could be. I don't know. I mean, it's highly unlikely to, but to me, it's just a very difficult stat to swallow.
Okay, but I do see a lot of black men on social media.
Yeah.
Oh, talking about they're voting for Donald Trump, and for certain reasons, I won't get into it myself personally, maybe later on.
Okay.
I want. Go ahead, Rob. What have you been seeing? Why black people vote for Trump?
Man, so we'll get to the overall black stat later.
Mm-hmm.
We'll focus on the black men right now.
Mm-hmm.
18% does seem high, but I have seen a lot of black men that said they were voting for him, specifically in this election, because they keep using this crime bill thing against Joe Biden. I personally don't understand it, but there are a lot of black men who are doing well financially. I don't think financially enough to relate to his financial status. But I've seen a lot of people use that one stimmy as a reason to vote for Trump. I have, and it's baffled me because that wasn't even him. But Dr. Boyce Watkins, I don't know if people follow him on social media, but he's been a huge proponent of not voting for Biden for many reasons, a lot financial. For two, they're saying we already survived 4 years, so we can do 4 more years. I personally don't understand that logic. I never will understand that logic. But I have seen a pretty fair amount of black men saying they were going to vote for him. And 18% does seem high, but at the same time, I'm not really surprised. I'll say that.
And I saw someone say something about education, about how educated black men voted for Trump as well. I'm trying to find those exit polls because I thought I saw that non-college graduates voted at a higher rate. But I'm gonna go back and check and see.
I don't know. I think more college graduates voted for Trump, honestly. Like, and well-off to do people. Like, I know my line brother, he was saying like between 35 and 50 or something like that. Black men voted for Trump more than any other time in history or something. So I could definitely see that happening, man. And honestly, let's just get right to it. Y'all beating around the bush. I'm probably the only one that's gonna say it. So the Democratic Party is used to black men playing the background. That's what it is. Okay. Black women have been in the forefront. They've been holding it down. We have been slacking as men. Okay. So they're used to dealing with black women. They're used to dealing with women in general. They're used to dealing with the alphabet boys. They're used to dealing with those guys in leadership positions. They aren't used to dealing with black men. So at the end of the day, black men are not emotional. We are not easily swayed. And at the end of the day, we don't care about none of these candidates. We don't care about Joe Biden. We don't care about Trump, because at the end of the day, we black, and what comes to the hood at the end of the day. And that's how a lot of black men feel. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is, once you finally get a black man that's straight, that has morals and standards, that's not emotional, when they finally get to the facts about everything, they sit there like, okay, why you don't like Trump? He racist? Okay, my boss racist. I've been dealing with my boss, you know what I'm saying? I can deal with that. Why you don't like Trump? What did he do that was racist? Oh well, he locked them kids up and at the border and all that. Okay, so black men like, okay, cool, we understand that, but at the end of the day, what you gonna do for black folks? So we gonna put black first at the end of the day. So we're not gonna be swayed off them emotions like that. And a lot of people just like, I just want to get Trump out of there. I just want to get Trump out of there. And it's like, why you want to get Trump out? Why? Because anything's better than Trump. We gonna vote for Joe Biden. Okay, well then that's when they bring up the crime bill with Joe Biden. Like my line brother said, yeah, you got to get past the crime bill, but it did affect a lot of the stuff that's going on right now because a lot of my partners don't have their dads in their home because of the crime bill. You know what I'm saying? So we get past all of that, and then we come back to it. Men are analytical. We try to fix the problem. We going straight to the problem. Like, this is what it is. So we're not easily swayed by all that emotional stuff that people say about Trump. And I think that's really why people voted for, like, a lot of black men voted for Trump, because we sit there like, okay, and
to that point, I'm gonna add on because I was listening and talking to a few guys. One of the guys said that he would rather prefer overt racism rather than covert racism, and that's one of the reasons why he was supporting Trump, because Trump was straight. It goes back to patriarchy and chauvinism. Like, Trump is straightforward. He may be racist, but at least he's racist in my face. So that's one of the arguments.
Can I jump in, Swift?
Go ahead, but that's one of the arguments I would choose for people. Black people.
All right. So let me answer. I'm gonna try to answer the question that that you asked. Like, why did so many black men vote for Trump? I have several reasons. For one, Christian. The Christian people really hang on to. I'm like, everybody in the race is a Christian, and they all kind of run on that. I remember my pastor back in the day. The first time I was eligible to vote was really, really, really doing a lot on talking about George Bush because of the Christianity aspect of it. And I'm like, you misinformed me. You miseducated us on that because he's a Republican. Another thing, the Democrats did not have a strategy for this election at all. All it was is, we're better than Trump because Trump is racist. It was like no real strategy, and they did not put forth the best candidate that they could find. There were several more candidates better than Joe Biden to go out there to beat Trump. Stacey Abrams would have been a better candidate for vice president than Kamala, but she's not light-skinned. She's not necessarily as attractive as Kamala, so they picked the safer candidate. I don't care what nobody say. That woman is a way better leader than Kamala, but it is what it is on that. Another thing, with the Democrats, they just expect black people to vote for them. So they just came up with a piss poor strategy. Like, he never really answered the question either about what will the Democrats do for the black people. He never really gave an answer to it either at the debates. Another thing, a little bit of power and a little bit of money goes to a guy's head. I don't want to call him the N-word, but it goes to their head. So they think because they making 120 a year, 140, 160 or whatever, that they think they're with Trump. They're Trump's people. But I'm like, in Trump's eyes, you're still broke. You're not even in the middle class yet because you make six figures. So I think a lot of those people really was like, oh, well, Biden gonna mess with my taxes. Biden wasn't gonna mess with your taxes, dog. You ain't even in the tax bracket that he looking for. So that's misinformed. I think that and a little bit of power. So they get these positions, they run in a company and all that. It's kind of like, I've seen plenty of people on jobs to say that, hey, I'm not about to protest because of, I ain't gonna lose my job over no protest, or I'm not gonna lose my job to take a knee during the national anthem. So it becomes about survival. When you grew up poor and now that you're not poor, you want to make sure that you stay that way. So, you are compromising your morals and your integrity for the sake of, money and power. I also think that people in the oil field were so misinformed. And I know a lot of people in the area where I live at work in the oil field, and they really thought that, Biden is going to close down the oil fields. I'm like, that's not true. He never said that. way 15, 20 years from down the line, he's trying to make it to where we're on clean energy, but he never said anything about closing the oil fields. I think another thing, 2 more points. False leaders, they listen to a lot of false leaders because you got some black men that's hardcore thugs, but if pastor said, they're gonna go by it because they feel like pastor is the most trusted person in their neighborhood, the most trusted person in their community, so they're gonna listen to pastor if he said it. False leaders, Lil Wayne, Lil Wayne good with him. 50 Cent good with him, so I gotta listen to him. So that must mean Trump really ain't that racist because my favorite rapper listens to him, which is bull. Also to address what Swift was talking about with the whole, I'd rather vote for the devil that I know as opposed to the devil that I don't know. Nah, I'm not with that at all. He's told you many times who he is. He told you that, you know, you do not matter to him. He tells you who his people is. I watched the debate, and not saying I was ever going to vote for Trump, but I watched the debate, and when the woman clearly asked him to denounce white supremacy, he just wouldn't. I'm like, bruh, you just won't do it.
That's where he lost too, boy.
I'm like, bro, you just won't say it. Just say I'm against racism. Just say it. Just say it.
Let's talk about this real quick. Melissa Williams said, are any of y'all going to address the elephant in the room? Some men still have the mindset that women are not capable of being leaders or don't belong in leadership. So I'm guessing she's saying that this is one of the reasons why black men decided to vote for Trump and not vote for Biden. What do y'all think about that?
Man,
So
next topic. Let's talk about something. Let's talk about something real.
No. I have literally seen men. I have seen a few black men, but I've seen a lot of white men afraid that something's going to happen to Biden, like he's going to get dementia or something like that, and Kamala's going to take over. Like they're using it as a scare tactic. Like using it as a scare tactic that Kamala's going to be the next president. Like I said, I don't think it's an overwhelming thing. But at the same time, like me and Melissa talked about this before, when you got a president and a vice president running, no one really cares about the vice president. They kind of fall to the back because the president's the one that's in the front all the time. But I believe there are some sects of the population that feel like that. I just don't think it's an overwhelming amount of people that feel like that.
I disagree.
Whatever. Go ahead, Jay Ward.
I disagree because I think I'm disagreeing with you, T. You're not gonna like this. Liz Warren, listen. Liz Warren was the best candidate, but they would not get behind her because they didn't think that she could beat Trump. If she was a man, she hands down would be the president today. Absolutely, bar none. And I think a lot of people, not even the voters, but the people high up in the party, just felt like, I don't think this is the right time, for a woman. We need a man that's going to get this done. We need a man, even though there were women who was clearly better than everything else. And to speak with Denaro was talking about earlier, there are multiple parties in our country, but the Democrats and Republicans get together to keep them suppressed. They can work together when it comes to that because they like the two-party system because it benefits them. Because on the ballot, the people who actually made it to the ballot, Jurgensen was the best choice. But we knew she wasn't going to get enough steam, and that's why people didn't vote for her because, you ain't going to ever have no third-party person win president. So she was a much better candidate. She had actual plans. She had actual strategies. But we felt like, man, we kind of got to go with Biden because we just going to take votes out of Biden's mouth to vote for her, and she's not going to win. So people just I think people kind of just settled in and went. Biden feels like a person that we're settling for. I'm glad it's not Trump, but it feels like we're settling for Biden.
Man, y'all, that's cap. Well, where E at when you need him, man? Well, shout out to E, man. E, I need E on the line right now. That's cap, and I'm tired of y'all giving into this narrative, man. Okay, look.
I mean,
Nope. I gotta get this out. We love women. We love powerful women. We love women in leadership positions. Honestly, if the person is qualified, there's no problem with a woman being in a leadership position. Y'all keep acting like just because a woman is on the ballot that she fits the criteria. Okay, no. We didn't vote for Hillary because we didn't like Hillary. It wasn't nothing about she was a woman. It's about she was Hillary Clinton. That's why people didn't like Hillary Clinton. It wasn't about, she's a woman, blah, blah, blah. No, okay. It was about straight up Hillary Clinton super predator. That's what it was about. But y'all act like, oh, just because men don't want to stand behind a woman, why wouldn't we? Black women been I'm saying black women been holding it down anyway. Black women been in leadership position in the black community anyway. So at the end of the day, why y'all feel like we don't trust women to lead? Like, it don't make no sense. White women did, like David said, white women didn't even like Hillary, man. And then Kamala, she come with a whole bunch of baggage too. So it wasn't about, just because she's a woman. It's about, okay, Kamala Harris, what she did in California, all that. You know what I'm saying? Now, people still look past it, and black men, 80% of black men still voted for her. So y'all need to quit with that majority and all that stuff. So it's crazy, man.
I see what T talking about, though. So
come on.
The reason T is so amped up is because you see on social media this message or this
gender war,
gender wars that black men are not supportive of black women, or majority, because T was going in. Or
I'm just saying, bro.
Or majority of black men voted for Trump. It's a lot of, they're amplifying the gender wars, and that's not true. I don't think that majority, I know for a fact that black men don't have any issues with black women or women in general being in leadership positions at all, especially if they're qualified for those positions. We are going to give Stacey Abrams all the kudos. We ain't got no issues with women being in leadership. Go ahead, Mr. Ward.
Swift, I feel like, and I hear this a lot when I'm around my older relatives, my older male relatives.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm around my older male relatives, they trust a woman, but not to run it. And that's when the man should be the head of the house thing comes into play. Like, hey, you could be the Secretary of State, you can be the Vice President, but we still need to let a man be the president now. That's a lot of the people, not the older people from like 50 and up. They kind of feel that way. And I think that's why, we have yet to have a woman president, even though and this is the thing. George Bush was so unqualified to be a president. Donald Trump is so unqualified to be a president. But then we have Kamala with 1 billion degrees, super educated, super qualified. Michelle Obama, even though she didn't run, super qualified to be the president. But it's like with a woman, she has to be the top 1% of everything and be attractive in order to get ahead in the political world. But then you can have the least qualified white man and he can win. And I just think that's why women get so frustrated. It frustrates me as well. I don't care about your gender. I don't care about how you look. Are you going to help people or not? And that's the same reason why I could never vote for Trump, because I don't care if I have done better financially since he's been the president. If it's at the expense of anybody else, a marginalized group of people, I cannot vote for you. I don't care if I got to sacrifice money out of my pocket. If I cannot compromise my morals in order to benefit myself financially. I just can't do it.
And I understand we do have those older generations that may hold on to those older ideologies, patriarchy, man ahead of the household, which translates to I'm not supporting a woman in a position that a man should be in. So I definitely get that point. But I just want to get away from the gender wars and people on social media saying black men as a whole, a majority of black men don't support women in leadership positions, because it's not true. I think that's what T getting on too.
That's all I'm saying, man. The only reason why I'm amplified is because I'm tired of people coming at black men like we don't hold it down for our women, bro. And that's not true. Again, we support all women in leadership positions.
But let's
truthfully
transition. Let's keep it back on the black vote in the election. I see black.
Can I just say one thing? Yeah, for me, it's like, as an outsider looking in now, it's always, I'm torn because I've lived in the US for many years, but now I'm on the outside looking in. So it's more like, man, if these guys can only see the bigger picture, that it boils down to education. If you educate the entire population, right? Guess what? You uplift everyone. People are able to have, people are able to be creative. And as a country, the entire country will move forward and continue becoming the greatest country in the world. But here we are, still focused on the itty bitty stuff, mainly because the resources are not equally divided. And I'm torn because I understand that. And that's problematic because we focus on petty stuff. You know, we all know that, I mean, women are less corrupt than men. Honestly speaking, we all know that. You put a bunch of women in the Senate, they run things. But the very fact that we focus on, okay, is she qualified? Is he qualified? Blah, blah, blah. We're not getting the bigger picture. And that's mainly because of the system. It's the system that's at fault. And, you know, for me, that's where, how do you fix that? That's the question, you know?
So how do we fix it? I see people put in the comments that in the U.S. there will never be a female president or indigenous,
Indigenous, boy.
But we said the same thing about it being a black president, period, and we got Barack Obama. So what do y'all think needs to happen? I know, and for there to be a black woman or a woman in general president. I'm gonna start with Jay Ward because you're the super saver. I'm gonna start with Jay Ward.
She's probably going to have to cure cancer or something like that. Like it would have to be the absolute perfect storm for these people to vote. And you know who would be the hardest people to turn for black women? White women. As much as black women have done for white women, we nursed their children, we taught their children, we've done so much for them. It would be so hard to turn white women to vote for a black woman. And it's
or a
embarrassing.
white woman.
Yeah, or even a white woman, because they have the same, like they live in their homes, and they, you know, a lot of them, they kind of live in their suburbs and get dominated by their man and do whatever they say. So if he say he voting for Trump, then she voting for Trump. So it's just like, you know, that's one of those things. And I'm just like, what I've learned about not necessarily just white people, but like evil people. And I'm not saying white people and evil people are synonymous, but those people will never vote against their own interests. And I think about, you know, I like to relate a lot of things to sports. I think back to Jerry Jones saying, if any Cowboy kneels, he's off the team. Okay. Dontari Poe kneeled the first game of this season. He did not get cut. He didn't get cut until he was unproductive. All right. The way they roll, once Nick Saban said, look, we about to lose money because these black boys feel a certain type of way, they changed it the next day. Like, we have so much power, but we won't step up and utilize the power that we have. And I think when a woman running, like, again, I look at the world like, you know, hey, I don't care what your gender is, I don't care who you sleep with, I don't care about none of that. Like, are you gonna do the job or not? And I think that's one of the things that it's 2020. We got to get past that, man. It's not 1920, it's 2020. And it's just like, we can't, you know, how many women governors do we have? How many black women governors do we have? I look at the way they treat the poor mayor of Chicago. They treat that woman so bad. How they treat
she kind of do it to herself. She do it to herself, bro.
The mayor of New Orleans. They disrespect her so much. She had to put her foot down and say, New Orleans is still closed because of the pandemic. She had to put her foot down. And I think that, you know, a lot of just people just feel like because they can physically intimidate a woman, or they think they can, that they don't necessarily have to respect a woman. And I think that that's bull.
Rob, you still be getting on president within 200 years, or someone, let's say 200 years. What you think?
All right, so Barack Obama became president not because of black people, but because of white people. So we weren't the ones that came the farthest. It was white people that came the farthest in order to get him elected. So the people who oppose women are the ones that are going to have to cross the aisle and vote for that woman. It's also going to matter who she's running against. So if she's running against another man, they're going to have to be some people that's going to have to cross the aisle from that man to vote for that woman, first off. And that includes men, and that it definitely includes white women. Like this election, white women upped their support of Trump from 53% to 55%. So they not only went out and basically told where they stood, but they doubled down and supported him even more. That's with all the rape allegations. That's with all the stuff that he's done, they said we're gonna stand with our men and we're gonna vote this white man in. And so they went out and came out in droves. And so for a woman to become president, the white women are gonna have to cross the aisle, and the men are gonna have to cross the aisle to vote for that woman. Until then, it's not gonna happen. And like I said, white women, man, they carry a lot of weight when it comes to these elections. And no one, like, people will mention them, like they'll do like the hand wave, and then they'll go back to infighting between black men and black women. Like, like they'll do the hand wave to the white women, but they're one of the powerful bases in voting, white women and white men, when it comes to electing the president. And so we got to start holding them more accountable, and seeing that's the actual issue, and then seeing how we can bridge that gap.
Yep. And like my line brother said, this the flashlight looking for everybody that coming at black men. Y'all coming at black men. Why y'all ain't pointing the flashlight on these white women that failed y'all in 2016, that failed y'all again in 2020? But black men and black women been holding it down for the Democratic Party. We saved Joe Biden in Carolina. Then we come back around and save him for the presidency this week. But y'all want to come at black men. Point the flashlight at these white women.
They're not necessarily coming at they're not necessarily coming at black men, but they are holding us accountable, and they should. But there are also no white women on this panel, so it'll be kind of not talking to anyone if we, just sit here and kind of preach about white women.
So Corey, talk to me. Where you coming from? What you drinking on? And the question we are on, I forgot what question we on. God, dog, we've been going for so long. Do you think there will be a woman president within the next 200 years? Shout out to Melissa for the question.
I think it'll be a woman president in the next 200 years, but it won't be till about maybe 30 to 50 years from now. That's probably the earliest we'll see a president that's a woman. Like, the stigma is real for a lot of men. It's a lot of men that do not want to take orders from women. She can be the smartest woman in the room. She can be well accomplished, well educated. It's just the stigma of nature that some men are not going to want to take orders from a woman. That's just how it is. Like, you look at, I'm pretty sure, I feel like Hillary Clinton's cockiness messed her up in 2016, but I also feel like a lot of people voted for Trump simply because he was a man and Hillary was a woman. Like, I feel like the highest seat, that an elected seat that you will see a woman have probably is governor and senator, if she had to run on her own ticket, because you even have women that feel like that. Like, there's a lot of white women that voted against Hillary just because she was a woman. And I think it was an episode of Blackish that really highlighted on that, when it said that white women don't like each other, or they don't like to see one in one position, the other one is not. So that's just my personal opinion. I feel like there are a lot of women that have the requirements and the skills to do the job, like Stacey Abrams, for example. I think she was overqualified. And the crazy part is, the thing about women has to exceed qualifications. Like Brian Kemp, for example, that man got a bachelor's degree in agriculture, and he's the governor of Georgia. Like, a bachelor's degree in agriculture, and he's the mayor. He's the governor of Georgia. Stacey Kemp is Spelman educated. Stacey Abrams is Spelman educated. She's an attorney. She's been a tax attorney for a long time. Like, she's overqualified, and they still had them on the same level, or had her up under him. So it's just the reality of America, in my opinion. Not just America. I think the world. I feel like more women are advanced over here than they are across the seas. So I do feel like that, but I don't see it happening anytime soon.
So, anybody else want to touch on this topic before we move on?
Nope.
No, T can T. So, black
Corey, you missed it, but T drinking Patron, so he may not be all the way with us tonight.
I am with y'all, man. But y'all, one thing, Swill. Corey wasn't on here when I explained this. It wasn't about a woman, bro. It was about people just didn't like that lady, man. We just didn't like Hillary Clinton, man. That's
I think
okay.
It was both. It was more so people didn't like her, but people didn't like Biden either.
And exactly. People didn't like Biden either, and that's why 18% of black men voted and 8% of black women voted. Double the black women voted for Trump. Y'all don't want to talk about that either, do you?
The moment that Kamala was announced as the running mate, people start picking her apart instead of saying, "Oh, I'm gonna give this woman a chance." They immediately started to find negatives. And
bruh, that's politics. That's what they do.
I just have one question. And I might sound like a whatever for asking this. Did the crime bill lock up anybody that wasn't a criminal, that hadn't done a criminal act? Did they go get any innocent people?
We're not doing that.
Yeah, we going here. The crime bill, since we're going to go here, the crime bill was supported by our parents and grandparents, right? The thing about the crime bill,
because they were tearing their neighborhoods up.
True. Okay, fine. I get that, but just because you stole, you got caught stealing 2 times, and you get caught the second time, don't mean you should do life in jail because it's your third strike.
Right.
And as far as Kamala, I don't think it's Kamala. I think her name is Kamala. I feel like the issue with black people is it's like even in corporate America, when you run across somebody black, you got to see if this person for the other side or they're for our side before you can mingle too close with them. And that's the same with of Kamala Harris. Even though she went to Howard, it's like some people probably felt like she was using, black people to push the Biden into office when she didn't typically claim black people. And it's not how I feel. I'm just putting it out there how people feel.
It's the truth. She represented. She was Indian. You know what I'm saying? But y'all don't want to talk about that. It is what it is. She probably paper. Bro.
Listen.
Y'all don't want to talk about that though. I'm done.
Hold on, listen. All I'm saying is, when you meet a black person in any realm, it could be in a workplace, it can be in an organization, you have to figure out what this black person is about before you start rocking with them. That's just what it is. Like, you think about Daniel Cameron, he's a black man, but obviously he's for the other side. And you have Candace Owens, you have the Omarosas, you have the Herman Cains. You got to see what they're about before you start letting them in the community like that. Because it's a lot of black people who are on the other side that jump on our side when it's convenient or they need to get elected. Now, I didn't really know a lot about her, to be honest with you, until she started running for president. So when you hear all the noise behind her name, I dig into it. And it's like, I understand why some people feel like they feel about her, but I didn't really care what she did. I was going to vote for her regardless because of what side she was on.
That's a good point, Kim. People always talk about criminal justice reform like we all criminals and that's all we want. That's a good point, but we're going to move on because we will be on this all night. Teton called this from a paper. Age by race. Blacks 18 to 29, 90% voted for, and it's only 2% of the population, but 90% voted for Biden, 9% Trump. But blacks 30 to 44, 79% voted for Biden, 19% went to Trump. 30 to 44, that's around our age range. What's going on, people? What's going on with our age range?
little bit of education and went to their head and made them forget about what happened, just removed. Like my grandmother, who just passed away in May, was born on a plantation. And, she never let me forget that, so I would never be so blinded just because of the things that the generation prior to us went through is why we are college educated. So now we can't then turn around and vote for the person who said, well, most of the people who's dying from the coronavirus are old. Like you just can't do that. That don't make sense. So I think that Biden focused a lot on the coronavirus, and people in our age range did not care enough about the coronavirus to let that be a talking point. People value the economy more than they value what was going to happen with the coronavirus. That happened. Yeah,
Jay Ward.
They really was focused on the economy, even
Jay
though
Ward.
Trump is a failed businessman. So I'm like, why are you taking advice from a failed businessman?
Okay, I got you, but let's just be honest here. You're talking about a pandemic that affected the world. So whoever was the president was going to take the brunt of this coronavirus. Let's just be honest about that straight up. Now, did Trump mismanage it? Of course he did. But again, Europe is about to close down for the second time. So
they already are.
Exactly. So this is a world problem, but people want to try to blame Trump for the coronavirus. But let's also remember when Trump closed the travel from China, all y'all was saying Trump's a racist. He's not letting Chinese people in the country.
Who said?
Everybody. Everybody, bro. This was like in February, January, before it really just hit, and everybody like, oh, he's a racist. He's shutting down the border.
Pull up the tape.
I will.
I don't remember nobody saying that now.
No.
Go ahead, Rob.
All I'm going to say on this is I think Jay Ward has a point there, because the news here is, as reported by the Swedish news about the U.S., it was that a lot of people were voting on their own economic standpoint. So from that, aspect, I think he has a point there in terms of black men in that age bracket were voting from an economic standpoint, their own economic standpoint, and not looking at the bigger picture. So that could be the reason.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. So when we talk about the 30 to 44 age group, we're talking about black people as a whole. That's black women and black men. So the 30 to 44 age group is basically everybody on here, everyone we went to college with. So our generation is the very first generation that is more integrated with white people on a professional and economic basis. And so we're the group that went to college. We're the group that have advanced degrees. We're the group that's majority making six figures, upward 5 figures, middle 6 figures. We're the group that are living in, better homes, better neighborhoods, when our kids go to better schools. We're the group that are around more white people on a professional level, probably have a lot of white friends or friends of different ethnicities. And so we see the world differently, even though we know where we came from. Like most of us came from either, rural area in some state, or, we came from poverty. So we have the background of poverty where we came from, but we all are doing better than our parents did. And we all have college education, which means we have more education, which means that the politics of the world don't really affect us when it comes to us speaking to what we're looking for in our candidates. And so what the 30 to 44 age group is showing the world is they got about 2 more elections before they start losing the 30 to 44 age group, switching from one side to the other based on the more money we make, the better we do in the world. We have kids who we want to go to be in better schools. We have kids who want to support. We have houses that we're taking care of. We have real estate. We have small businesses. We have things that we care about that we want a candidate to also care about and assist us with. So what I think the 30 to 44 age group is telling the world, and should tell the Democratic Party, is You got about 2 more elections before we start not being like our grandparents and our parents are, who you can book it Democrat, you can book it Democrat, you can book it Democrat. The 30 to 44 age group of black men and black women are not doing that anymore. And so that should be troubling for the Democratic Party, which hopefully they're seeing, and they can start listening to that age group because we're the ones that are in the prime of building this country up.
And to that point, when I'm looking at the exit polls, one of the questions is, do you think the condition of the nation's economy is those that think the economy is going good, excellent, they went to Trump. 75-78% of those people, of those voters went to Trump. But the not so good and poor electorate went to Biden. So the ones that's making the money, the ones that think the economy is doing well and it's benefiting them, they switched over to the Republican Party. He also says, and Rob said, he says it's a big issue. What do we need to do to, well, let's not say it's a bad thing, but what do you think the Democrats could do to bring that back? Go ahead.
That's what I was saying. I was saying, like, the Democrats do not have a strategy. The Republicans are already grooming who's going to be the next person up. Democrats don't do that. They just wait till the time comes and then they just scramble and say, all right, you go up there. And it's like they need to start developing the next person right now. Like Beto would be perfect to me to start grooming. Like you need to move him up quickly so that when the next time comes,
president. What do you mean move him up quickly? He was on the ballot.
He ran for it, but then he conceded.
Because
he's saying like give him time to push, like
yeah,
push
go ahead on put him in a higher position so we can set him up in 4 years, because there's no way Biden is going to win again. He's going to be almost 80 years old.
But we do have, I'm not going to say that, the Democratic Party does have great candidates. AOC is great. Beto, Andrew Gillum would have been great.
Don't bring his name up. That man is disappointing.
Yeah, they're not even talking about Gillum, bro.
Don't bring him up. Like
I'm saying he would have been.
Don't bring him up, bro. Because don't bring him up.
I6 Devin said we should start our own party. I saw that comment. And I'm gonna address that later. I definitely want to make sure we get into that later.
The Black Party. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, anybody else?
I don't think we need to have our own party. I think that we all need to be unified in our vote, and we need to demand what we want from these people. And if they don't want to give it to us, then we don't need to vote for them and quit giving our vote to the Democratic Party for cheap. Straight up. Like, okay, it don't matter if you Republican or you Democrat. What are you going to do for black people? I don't care about other people's rights. I don't care about white people's rights. I don't care about Mexican rights. I don't care about none of that. I'm voting straight up black. I'm black everything. I got on all black tonight for y'all because I came ready. Real talk. Like, and that's our problem, man. They've been taking us for granted. Now, obviously, since we won and we were the deciding factor in this election, I hope that in 2024, things will change. I honestly hope that they will take us more serious because we decided this election.
So
white women, hold on, white women let us down.
You not the host no more, T.
No, I'm saying white women let us down, man. We won this election, man.
God damn, T had to mute. God
damn. Hey, Hispanics really voted for Trump as well.
They did.
As much as he has said about the Hispanic people, they voted for too. They really supported him.
So is it safe? So can we?
And I'm gonna ask y'all this question too. I see black people saying all the time, "What are you going to do for black people to vote for you?" Diddy talking about don't vote until they come with a plan.
Don't bring him up either.
I gotta bring him up because I have to.
Keep him the ice cube to the side.
I gotta come in on that.
Let me ask you. Let me finish the question.
I gotta come in.
What are you expecting the president of the United States to do for one demographic of people?
I gotta come in on that because for me, right there, that's problematic. The very fact that you think that the black folk can operate independent in the United States from any other ethnicity is crazy. I mean, you have to look at the entire demographic and say, okay, if we uplift everyone, regardless of ethnicity, our country's going to move forward. The black people ain't mutually exclusive from the rest of the population. That's problematic in itself. Yeah, resources have been, we have to understand resources have been given to black folks over time. But just to say black this, black that, I understand the hurt. I do understand the hurt, but that's not going to move the.
Then Raw.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, black people made up the vote that took him over the edge. We saved him in Carolina, and we saved him last night. Black people. So if all the Democrats, everybody that voted for Joe Biden, we all would have voted for Trump, Trump would be the president. Whoever we voted for, that's who the president. Period.
And I'm gonna ask y'all in the comments too. What would you want to do for just black people? So T, answer that question for me. What would you have the president of the United States do for just African Americans?
It ain't even like. That's why I hate when people say Obama didn't do nothing for black America. Because at the end of the day, you are the president of America. You're not the president of black America. So I do get that. You know what I'm saying? So like when everybody be coming down on Obama about that, I just be like, all right, whatever. Now what can they do? I just think it's small things like acknowledging the black vote, acknowledging black issues, saying Breonna Taylor name. You know what I'm saying? Like not waiting 60 days to say Trayvon Martin. Little stuff, simple stuff, economic things, government contracts for black contractors, black businesses, things like that. It ain't even got to be over the top. Anything, just not for free. Not for free.
Go ahead, TJ.
I disagree that stuff can't. I disagree with the comment that you're the president of the United States, not just black people. I disagree with that because other groups get things done for themselves. That's why they put their money together for these super PACs and donate to whoever's going to push their agenda through. You asked the question, what can we do for black people? For one, I want reparations, but that's not going to happen. But that's just something I'm going to throw out there. For two, I think that you should give student loan forgiveness to everyone that went, all the first generation college students. Three, I think that black people should be able to get access to capital from financial institutions. I feel like we can't go in and apply to get a business loan to run a gas station or run a restaurant or something like that, or even open something like a clothing store. We can't get capital to do that. But we have other demographics of people that come over here and they instantly get that capital to be able to open hair stores and open gas stations in black communities.
Okay.
So I do
Something
feel
else.
like that.
Oh.
All right, can I go
Okay.
for it? It's on me.
Oh, I heard Rob. Let Rob go first.
Okay.
So there's things in the country that specifically affect black people, black men, black women. One of them is drug charges. So you have all of these states making marijuana illegal, but keeping people in jail that are in jail for marijuana, selling marijuana. And so we have to look at the prison population, because that adversely affects black men specifically, black people wholly, but black men specifically. A lot of the black male population is in prison for things that are now legal. So we have to attack the prison population because that adversely affects us more than anyone. The second thing is we have to address the policing in America. There's a policing problem in America. Is it training? Is it funds? Is it the practices? And it's not just in a specific state or a specific town. It's across the country. It's a systemic issue that's affecting black people in America everywhere. So we have to get the policing in check. You probably can't get it in check because it's a culture issue, but you can at least start punishing these police officers for them killing unarmed black men and black women. The second thing is the LGBT community got rights and privileges passed for their group under President Obama. Like they specifically picked them out and made sure that their rights were protected and that they had, all of their laws and things passed. They can do that for black people because there are things that specifically affect us in America that don't affect anybody else. And they know that at the national level. You just have to have someone dedicated to dig into it and to try to assist us in helping that move forward, because there are things that they could do for us to help us that they just aren't doing at all.
Go ahead, David.
Let me take. I'm about to pour me another shot because this is too much for me. Like T said, the narrative of Obama did not do anything for black people. How about this? Black people didn't do anything for Obama. Here's why. We went out in droves for his first 2 terms to vote and then disappeared. It's not the president that's whooping you. It's the local people that's whooping you. Okay? It's when the ballots, when they put amendments on the ballot, when they put different measures and things on the ballot, and only 300 people out of 300,000 people show up, that's what's killing us. Is that we're not voting in local elections. We're not involved in local and state politics. The things that your mayor and governor does will affect you more than what the president does. I've been a working citizen since I was a younger person, since I was like 16, and I've been voting now. I voted in, I think, 4 elections now. And it is the local people that's wearing us out. There are people in Louisiana who are blaming voter suppression for not understanding the abortion bill. You didn't understand it because you did not seek to understand it. That's it. Is that the information about amendments is public well in advance of the election.
Now they do be wording that stuff to
it
trick
is worded
people.
wrong, but if you
they be trying to trick you now.
I can't live on
No,
that.
No, I feel you though. I feel you.
If you uninformed, right. You're uninformed because you desire to be uninformed because it's not important to you. It's that stuff that's whipping us. We need to make sure that we're voting in the local elections. We're voting for the school board because education plays a huge part in criminalization. Like most people who are underserved students become criminals eventually. So if you voting for the people that's on the school board and they're making sure that the hood schools and the impoverished schools are taken care of, then you don't have to worry about as much crime. Criminals are going to be criminals regardless. But if you have a better educational system, which means you're voting for the right school board people, they will take care of your kids when they're in school, which will keep them out of the legal system to begin with. So it's like we want the president to be a king. The president ain't a king. All right, we failed Obama because he can't make decisions because the Senate has to vote on that stuff. The House of Representatives, all that, those people have to vote on those things as well. And I look at it from a simple mindset. I'm not a political science major. I'm just looking at it from, A, B, C. A equals B. This is it. If you don't have the House control, if you don't have control of the Senate and all this type of stuff, then it's almost impossible for you to get things done because all they're going to do is just block it. They're just going to block it. But if we would go out and vote, look at all the judges. Look at all the judges that have been appointed under Trump. So no matter what we do, we're in a losing battle because all the judges have been appointed by Trump. All of these people have been appointed by Trump. So we should have been there for that type of stuff. So that's what's whipping us. The judges who decides the sentence, go vote for the damn judge. So you can have a judge that you can hold accountable.
Vote period.
Vote period. We have to hold these people accountable, and we have to hold the Democrats. We gave you the vote again this year. You didn't deserve it, but we gave it to you. Hold them accountable. You can't disappear in 2 years when half of the Senate seats are available. You can't disappear in 2 years and go back into your hole. You have to be there to be able to vote.
So let's wrap this up. We'll be talking all night. There's so much we can break down. But I want to make 2 quick comments. I don't mind what Oregon did, decriminalizing meth and well, I'm not gonna say decriminalizing, but using alternative methods to treat those who use those drugs rather than just throw them in prison. I don't mind that at all. Secondly, I do think that we should get more alphabetic brothers to run for office and put them in the White House. And with that being said, I feel like I probably am gonna run for office one day. But we'll talk about that another time.
HOA president. HOA president.
Nah. More than that. But final thoughts and comments, gentlemen, because like I said, we can talk about this all night.
I'm not a Trump supporter, man. Let me make that clear, man. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump supporter, man. You could go look at my ballot. It's public record, man. I'm not a Trump supporter. Only thing I want to say is I follow everything. So a lot of stuff that they were saying about Trump were lies. A lot of stuff that they say about Biden were lies. So at the end of the day, honestly, I'm going to say this. I don't care about Biden. I don't care about Trump. The only reason why I voted for Biden, honestly, it wasn't nothing to do with Trump policies, Biden policies, or none of that stuff. The real reason why I voted for voted for Biden. My bad.
Freudian.
He just told on himself.
No, the real reason why I voted.
You voted for Trump, so you muted.
The real reason why I voted for Biden is because I could deal with Trump being a racist, honestly. You know what I'm saying? But I can't deal with Billy Bob with the battery in his back because Trump the president. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't deal with Billy Bob and Billy Ray running up on me because they think that Trump got their back and they so amped up. And all these racist, regular white people are amped up because of Trump. And that's the real reason why I voted for Joe Biden, because we can't have Trump backing them. That's honestly it. I don't care about Biden. I don't care about Trump or none of them folks. But I definitely care about Billy Bob feeling like he's superior.
I got you. Before we go to Rob, if I do win the presidency and you're in the White House, yes, we are still splitting the bills. Okay, go ahead, Rob.
That's trifling.
No, it's not.
So I can't say who I voted for until January for obvious reasons. But at the same time, I think a lot of men are less emotional, and I think more black people should be less emotional when it comes to politics. I think if you get caught up in your emotions, then it's very difficult to see what's actually going on. So if you take things as they are, I think it's easier for you to see how people move and to see how more politics are run. But I do believe that the Democrats, when they do eventually win, because they are going to win, they have a task at hand to see how they're going to turn this thing around, because I do believe that the 30 to 44 year age group of not only black people, but Mexicans, Latinos, Asians are sliding. So they have to determine how to catch that age group, because that's the age group right now that's basically holding things down in America, making things happen. They're the young ones with the fresh blood, and so they're making stuff happen. So I think they need to figure out how to grab that group and bring them back over to their side, or they're going to lose them. That's it.
I'll go. I'll jump in, Swift.
Swift on mute.
CJB, go ahead.
Swift tripping.
You can go ahead, J Ward.
All right. I'll say this. I got a bunch of notes, and I could talk about this all day. And as a teacher, I see firsthand the bigotry that's passed down to the next generation. I have people in second grade, Trump is this and Joe Biden is this and all that. But I'll say this. If we are united as a people, it doesn't matter who's in office. We're going to be good either way. If we know that we got us, Nick Cannon got fired, and the people from 85 South say, I'm not hosting Wild 'N Out if Nick ain't on here. That's the type of support we need. Like, I'm not going to be a pawn in this war. If we have each other, Like, how many of you have ever seen someone from India, not a Native American, but an Indian person vote? I don't think I've ever seen one at the poll, ever. Because they have each other. They're going to take care of each other no matter what. It's the same way you see most Asian people drive Hondas, because they support the car that's made in China, and which is, now it's made in America, whatever. But they support each other and they take care of each other. All of the billions of dollars that are within the African American pockets, if we know that we're taking care of each other, it don't matter who's the president, because we know we have each other's back. If us as HBCU alums, if we wasn't depending on the dollar from the government, it wouldn't matter what they did, because we know we got each other. If we are going to take care of each other, it's like, hey, Monique, Netflix won't give you $1 million deal. I have $1 million deal to give you. I got a $10 million deal to give you, Monique. So you don't have to worry about Netflix, because I'll fund you. If we took care of each other and said that, hey, because the NBA, they got it right. The NBA understands that, hey, the power in the NBA is all black people. All the black people in the NBA, all the black players are on one accord. But in NFL, the quarterbacks have the power, and the few of them that are black won't speak up. So, but Patrick Mahomes, he putting his money where his mouth is, buying election machines and things like that. So if we were unified and together and had a game plan together, it would not matter who's in leadership, because president ultimately, I'm not going to say it's a figurehead type position, but
It is.
it's more so of a representation of the country. If we were together as one unified thing, not saying that we all have to have the same beliefs or the same political affiliation, but if we know at the end of the day, if this sister got fired for being black, she got a job somewhere, then it would not matter who was the president, because we would take care of each other and we would be all right.
Go ahead, CJB.
My last comments are going to be on the black. I don't know if y'all talked about this because I was late, but it's more so about the black people who were posting shit on social media about they didn't vote for nobody or they not voting. I feel like that's disrespectful to, most black people who are in need of help. And the crazy part about it, the black people who don't vote, those the ones that be on government assistance. So they should be the first one trying to break the door down and vote in their reelection. But that's pretty much who my beef is with. Like, you look at Georgia, I feel like Georgia is a prime example of what can happen when a lot of black people vote. I feel like when every time a prominent Democrat loses in Mississippi, people always say that's because black people don't vote. I think it's a combination of people not voting and just being outnumbered. But also, I want to talk to the people who voted for Kanye motherfucking West. I know there was a lot of people that did, and a lot of them were young and black. Please don't be foolish with that vote. If you really pay attention in your social studies class, especially the people in Mississippi, if you paid attention to Mississippi studies, you would know what our people had to go through just to have the right to vote. So I feel like we should take voting serious. I agree with T. You shouldn't give your vote to anyone for free. You should hear their platform or know what they support, where they came from, how they voted in the past. You have to do a background check on whoever you're voting for. But it's disappointing that a lot of younger black people choosing not to exercise their right to vote. And it's to the point where some people are real foolish, and I'm not going to get into the group of people who it was, but I just feel like you should take that more serious, because even I know in Georgia, for example, if everything holds fine, people in Georgia, we got to go back out and vote again in January for the Senate race. I think that is like a very turning point for the country. Georgia able to get 2 Democratic Senate seats, I feel like that'll go a long way for Biden because that's something Obama never had. He never had the Senate. So I feel like that's real important.
Then wrong.
Yeah, before I give any last comment, I'll just talk about, I think it was Rob or Jay Ward who mentioned that the Democratic Party hasn't got its act together yet. That's true. Because guess what? The Republican Party, whether you know it or not, they have an international arm and they're influencing foreign politics as we speak. So, yeah, on that side of things, the Democratic Party needs to get its act together. And final thoughts for me would just be, whenever we vote, think about the bigger picture. Yeah, I understand the hurt. We need to be supporting black businesses here and there, but we need to think a bit beyond that. Okay, if we uplift ourselves, then what? We need to think of us as a nation together because, we can only move forward together. That's the way I feel. Because when you leave the United States, people are not worried about the colors. You're American, and that's the way it should be. So, uplifting black folks, that's short term, but we also need to think long term. I feel.
And my final thoughts.
Shut up, Dre.
See, don't. Anyway, I just want to thank everyone for coming in tonight. Stop with the gender wars. Stop with the all the social media posts that have no facts behind them whatsoever. We are more educated than that. I expect more from my people on these comments to this overall agenda. I'm going to talk about more about the politics side from it on Monday on Champagne Conversation.
Bro, 20% every time you drop Champagne Conversation.
I just had to. But anyway, I want to thank you.
So if I never see any information about that, I don't know how to get to the Champagne Conversation.
I'll share it on my Facebook page.
20%.
Okay, thank you.
But I just want to thank everyone for coming.
Bring me on. I got something to say.
Definitely, I'm muting you. If we'll be on next Friday, we're gonna talk about it in the group chat because my line brother will be getting ready to celebrate his wedding next weekend.
Hey.
I'll be out 2 weeks, Friday and next Friday.
Yeah,
so
I'll be out next Friday because I'll be in Atlanta with you. But we'll see. So everyone,
I'll be in Atlanta Saturday. I'm not coming to Saturday.
Okay.
Hey, y'all need to come swing down on me, man.
I'm definitely not going to see
bro.
Set me out, T.
Swing down.
I think T got a Trump flag in his yard. I'm gonna take a picture and put it on Facebook.
With a
Alpha Beta men get married. Shout out to Corey Brown, man.
Alpha Beta men listen, ladies. Find you an Alpha Beta man. I keep trying to tell y'all. Y'all gonna listen to me one day. But that's all for tonight. I want to thank y'all for chiming in. We'll continue this conversation probably on Facebook. I want to know what the rest of y'all think in the comments. And we'll keep the conversation moving forward and hold the black people down, and we're going to be all right, hopefully.
My wedding going to be on Brothers Vent 2. Going down live, man.
We're going to get banned.
Y'all tag my old lady, let her know.
We're going to turn into trolling.
Put the patrol down, bro.
Hey, I'm halfway through my fireball.
You're going to be like me. I lost my wallet.
All right, y'all. I'm going to sleep.
All right, then, Rob. Go to sleep, man. Shout out to Africa, the Gambia.
Hey, Pat called them wrong, Tony